But the Groundup has upset the staff of the longtime traditional student newspaper because the Groundup is placed directly on top of the Roundup newspaper bins. Keeping the Oregon mountains clean is something everybody can agree on, but there is a difference of opinion on the issue of making the Oregon mountains a national monument. Right now, the McConnell family is filling a balikbayan box filled with anything from canned goods to used clothes and anything that the people of the Philippines might need. Marcy says to be safe when you come down to the Lincoln National Forest, especially during Christmas season. I had my eye on this tree, but I can't cut it down because it exceeds the 10-foot limit. A lot of people think that pit bulls are aggressive dogs, but the Dryden family says with pets like Bo, it's quite the opposite. The cultivation specialists at MJ Expresso say just like any good houseplant, soil, water, light, and environment are key in growing good flowers to get to their patients. These women say it's time for the men to hand over the tools and let them get the job done. These students say Las Montañas Charter School is where they want to be, the place where they can learn and prepare for their future.
I know myself, and I know I cannot survive in a typical high school environment where I'm not catered to, where I'm not really cared for, and I'm cared for here.
Last May, Las Cruces Public Schools decided that if Las Montañas wanted its charter renewed, the school would have to meet certain standards.
What they're attempting to do to address specifically the concerns that Las Cruces Public Schools has about their effectiveness in both academics and in their finances.
Herb Torres was appointed special master of the school in August. It's his job to make sure Las Montañas stays on track in the areas Las Cruces Public Schools feels needs improvement.
The Board of Education in Las Cruces would probably have an easy time of saying, you know, they met our expectation, they're moving in the right direction, we will then continue their charter.
The goals that need to be met by Las Montañas are written right here in the office of the academic dean, showing him, the faculty, and students the challenges that need to be overcome.
So there is that fear, but I also see the fear being a motivation to try to stay open and do what they need to do because they finally found a place that they can call my school.
The teachers believe they were already doing a good job. They say now they must redouble their efforts to make sure Las Montañas survives. Behind this door is a garden not many people know about, but growers at MJ Expresso aren't planting roses and daisies. They grow medical marijuana for around 400 patients.
That's the goal, is if this is a medicine, we should be able to give it to people that need it.
Orlando Watts says he started MJ Expresso because some patients need more than pharmacy prescriptions to function.
Children with Dravet syndrome, where they have 40 to 50 seizures a day, and those parents never really get a chance to even meet their children because they're always waiting for those next seizures. And when they've tried so many different pharmaceutical drugs to alleviate these problems, they haven't worked. And when they tried cannabis, it has.
Recreational use of marijuana just to get high is not the point at MJ Expresso. The marijuana is grown for the beneficial nutrients and medicinal use of the plant. Watts says different strains of marijuana like Blue Dream and LA Confidential satisfy his patients' ailments.
You know, these molecules that are in cannabis, not just THC, there's CBDs and CBNs that are beneficial to, people without getting high.
The cultivation specialists at MJ Expresso say just like any good houseplant, soil, water, light, and environment are key in growing good flowers to get to their patients.
When pharmaceutical companies, when they take something that's a drug, they synthesize it, This plant doesn't have to be synthesized. In its natural state, it helps people.
Medical marijuana is legal in 20 states and Washington, D.C. With 22 different dispensaries in New Mexico, Orlando sees the future of medicine changing.
I'm just glad that people are starting to see and remove the stigmas around cannabis because it really can help people.
He's happy the law is changing and sees a day when marijuana loses its bad reputation. For News 22, I'm Tobias Rodriguez. Ballet Folclórico has made its way into the curriculum at La Academia Dolores Huerta, and students say dancing has improved their grades because if they're not passing, they're not performing.
It's kind of fun to perform out there, and like you wanna perform and you have to like try hard and keep your grades up to perform.
Cesar Mendoza says the art programs at his school are helping some students cross language barriers.
Some kids don't know Spanish or some kids don't know English, so they can learn it here.
The students I spoke with say being at a school with only 149 students makes the student body feel like a family, and that dancing has given them a connection to their family's past.
It's really interesting to know that these were the dances that they used to dance.
Jose Tena says a goal of La Academia Dolores Huerta is to give back to the community through performing arts.
We given the opportunity to our community to have a chance to take classes where they can express themselves artistically, but not only that, learning about their culture. That is important.
Bricia Terraza says learning choreography is hard work, but it pays off when it's time to put on a show.
We try really hard to get out there and just show off what we learned with our teacher. It's our chance to show how we shine.
Here at La Academia Dolores Huerta, the students learn everything from algebra to mariachi, and they say bringing their culture to the classroom is why they love coming to this school.
I like the electives here because they're based on my culture, my Mexican culture, so it gives me a chance to participate in my culture.
Jose Tena directs his own dance company, Ballet Folclórico de la Tierra del Encanto, but he says his biggest accomplishment is teaching these students from elementary to college.
The best pay that I receive every year is when I go to the NMSU graduation and I see some of my kids graduating.
Tobias, News22. Hundreds of thousands of people make their way to the Lincoln National Forest every year to camp and hike. Forest Service officials say anything that brings you into the wilderness also brings danger.
Once you're on the forest, it is ultimately up to the person to keep themselves safe and to know their limits and what they're willing to take on.
Bears and other wild animals might be the biggest danger on park-goers' minds, but Marcy says weather is also a factor, especially this time of year.
Once you get out in the woods, make sure that you know what the forecast is, know what you're getting into, have the proper equipment.
When a missing person search and rescue is brought to the attention of park officials, Marcy says the first step for the Forest Service is to turn the case over to state police.
They put a team together and we try to make contact or try to figure out where they were headed. That's where the itinerary comes in handy and start the search that way.
Even with winter weather, the Lincoln National Forest Sacramento District sees people in holiday preparation. Marcy says to be safe when you come down to the Lincoln National Forest, especially during Christmas season. I had my eye on this tree, but I can't cut it down because it exceeds the 10-foot limit.
You're not going to be cutting down this ginormous tree and having it fall on your head, and shouldn't cause any kind of damage. It's just you make sure you have the proper tools and a way to properly secure the tree onto your vehicle if you're not taking a truck to get it home safely. Finding that perfect tree and taking a winter holiday hike can make for great memories, but Marcy says be careful or they may be memories you don't want. Tobias, News22.